Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Erkai HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Quan Watt of the Great Millstone Charlotte Camp, coming with a quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And just touching on this article, man, the new year starting off with a bang. Esau's new year came in, and we're already seeing the will of the Lord being made manifest in the earth, man. Right? As we read in Zephaniah, right? Which we'll grab that real quick before we play the video. Right? Zephaniah 3 and 5. It says, "The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame." So this event, this mass judgment event, and we're gonna see more and more of these things take place, Lord willing, through this next calendar year, man. Right? Right, like it says in the title, 40 killed, 115 hurt in Swiss resort blaze on New Year's Day. All right, so these people went out, celebrated, brought in Esau's New Year, right? And then 40 of them didn't make it through the rest of the day, man. And this is all the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. This is judgment being set forth in the earth, right? As you read in, I think it's in Psalms, right? But let's play this video real quick, and then we'll get to the scriptures.
And we're seeing new video of a deadly Swiss fire that police say killed several dozen people and injured about 100. Witness video shows the fire spreading across the ceiling of that crowded bar in the Alps. And at first, people celebrating the new year there seemed unaware of the danger, but then you can see the panic set in as people start running out of the building trying to escape. ABC News 4 correspondent Tom Sufi-Burge is there on the scene. Tom, earlier officials talked about several dozen presumed dead. Any more clarity on the victims here?
Yes, Swiss officials have just held their latest press conference, Diane, in the last few minutes or so, and they are now saying that they believe around 40 people have been killed in this inferno, in that nightclub, in the centre of Caen, this ski resort, 2 hours east of Geneva. We have just arrived here at the town. It's a family resort. You can see a lot of children walking around with their parents at this time of night. And to be honest, this is a community in shock. The Swiss president in that press conference describing this tragedy as one of the worst to hit Switzerland in its history. And there are major questions about what caused that fire to break out at about 1:30 a.m. on New Year's Eve morning, local time. Images from the scene showing that nightclub ablaze. And eyewitnesses talking to French media describing how the blaze quickly spread through that nightclub, which was packed, mainly full of young people, and then the panic and the crowd and the crush that the fire caused. Now, Swiss authorities are not confirming any sense of what caused this tragedy. They are, at the moment, ruling out that this was any type of attack. And they were in this press conference, Diane, just moments ago, asked about the unconfirmed reports that it could have been caused, the fire, by these celebratory sparklers, which are sometimes brought out into the club with drinks like champagne. At the moment, Swiss officials are not confirming that. They say it's too early in the investigation to say what caused this fire.
What are you watching for next year?
I think the investigation, the investigation is underway, but Swiss authorities are stressing that this is the earlier stages of the investigation. They're also, Diane, talking about identifying the victims. So they say they believe about 40 people have been killed in this tragedy, about 100 people have been injured. They say most of the injured are severely burnt. They were rushed to hospital. There's been the use of helicopters out to other hospitals in this area. They say the main hospital in this Swiss region is absolutely overwhelmed, and they are urging people to stay away from those hospitals unless it is absolutely necessary. But, Diane, they are really stressing that it could, in the words of Swiss officials, take days for them to identify all of the victims, and they say that there are many nationalities within the victims. And just to underline, around 40 people dead, one of the worst tragedies in Swiss history, according to the country's president.
Wow.
Diane?
What a way to start the new year there. Tom Sufi-Burge, thank you.
Yep, what a way to start the new year, man. Right? This is all the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai taking place in the earth. Right? Let me see here. See if I can find this. Yep, this is Psalm 35 or 33, and starting verse 4, it reads, "For the word of the Lord is right, and all his works are done in truth." Right, so this is all the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai taking place, man. Right, again setting the tone for this new year. Right, you see, even though everybody's in the celebratory mood, right, you got Trump, speaking on so-called peace, even though they're de facto declaring war against Venezuela, right? You see continuing tensions between them and China, right? All these things leading into this new year, man. It says, he loveth righteousness and judgment, right? The Lord loves righteousness and judgment, man. Right? And this is all righteous judgment. Who perished being innocent, right? What's that? Job 4:7, right? Who perished being innocent, right? 40 souls got taken back to the heavens last night or this morning, really, right? And how many more, right? As the day goes on, that they find, and this, just speaking as a man, it's suspicious that this took place in Switzerland because that's where they have Davos. Those Davos meetings are not too far from that town in Switzerland, man. Right? They got the Geneva out there, right, where a lot of these bankers, right, are formed and founded. So that's just something to think on. This situation coming into that possibly being in play, right? But the point being, this all the will of the Lord at the end of the day, regardless of how it started, right? It says he loveth righteousness, and judgment. The earth is full of the goodness of the Lord, and this is the goodness of Yahweh Shem Shai, man. Right? Regardless if people want to believe it or not, right? These judgments taking place are the goodness of the Lord, right? Because He knows, the elect are looking at these things in a positive light because it's meaning, more and more calamities are starting to happen upon this place, man. Right? More and more perilous times, And that's a sign, again, that we're almost out of here, man. The more of these things start to rapidly take place, we pray for more events like this, right? More mass judgments to take place upon the wicked people on this earth, man. Right? I think that was the point on that. Yeah. Let's get that Job. Job chapter 4 and verse 7. It reads, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off, right? It says, whoever perished being innocent. Those people were not innocent, man. Those were wicked spirits that got taken back to the Heavenly Father, man. Right? And the Lord is using this again as a warning, right? To set the tone for the year, right? All these things, right? To set the tone, for Esau's year, right? Because we know that this isn't the new year in the winter time, but be that as it may, right? Those were not innocent souls, man, right? Neither the 115 or the 40, right? It says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. So that's the reward of the wicked is death, man, right? Evil times, hard times. And we're seeing those start to ramp up, right? And Lord willing, they continue to intensify, right? Just a couple more. Because the point being, the point's made, right? This is the will of the Lord in the earth, man, right? Every day He bringeth His judgment to pass, right? You wake up this morning, 40 souls gone, right? 115 waiting in the wings, Let's get this in Sirach 39. This is Sirach 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them, right? So those spirits were sent forth, right, to accomplish that mission, man, right? To set that place ablaze, right, was the will of Yahweh Shem Shai. And those death angels were sent out there to take those people out, man. Again, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hand of the Lord, man. Right? And these examples go out over and over again. People in America don't often get the impact of the things that happen globally, right? Because there's hundreds of spirits being sent back in mass judgments, day in and day out, man. Right? You go through all these countries, right? It's events like this that are happening more and more and more frequently, and that's because it's the Lord bringing judgment upon the earth, man. Right? Just because it's not happening on American soil, right, it doesn't mean that it's not the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Right? These things are happening, quicker and quicker because we're getting closer to that time of ultimate judgment, man. Right? The Lord, he's thinning the herd right now, right? Taking those spirits back. Verse 29, fire and hail, right? Fire and hail and famine and death. All these were created for vengeance, right? So this is all the vengeance of the Lord again in the earth. Every day he bringeth his judgment to pass, man, right? Every single day we see the judgment of the Lord, right, being manifested, Let's get one more. And we'll close with this. Just something quick, man. I saw that video, right? And it's just, hey, this is the trend that the Lord is set for the year, man. There's more judgments taking place. Let's see here. That was 9, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9, and get to the point of verse 13. It reads, "And therefore be not thou curious, or be thou not curious, how the ungodly shall be punished, and when," right? Because they're going to fall victim of events like this, man, right? This the will of the Lord is taking the ungodly out day in and day out, man, right? But what's our focus to be on? It says, "But inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created," right? So we see these things, we report on these things, but our main focus, right, outside of warning of the judgment of the Lord, is to get ourselves right, man. Set our houses in order, right, that we may be found worthy, right? It's let's get that. That we may be found worthy of these times, man. Luke. So 21 and 36. Luke chapter 21, verse 36. "Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man." So we're not concerning ourselves with, right, how these people get judged, right? But we know that these things are coming, right? We know that the Lord is going to be doing even worse things, man, right? 40 people is nothing, right? 40 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, right? It's going to be people dropping by the thousands and tens of thousands, right? Soon come, man, right? So we don't worry ourselves with that, right? we give the warning of why these things are happening, right? So that you can do what? You can be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, man, right? So more and more mass judgments are going to, befall the earth, right? Through the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day, right? But just a quick lesson, man, right? The Lord setting the tone for 2025 or 2026 now. We're going to see more and more of these things happening, but hey, the new year's starting off with a bang. Lord willing, as an edifying lesson to the spirit and pride of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. I'm going to close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing his word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Hey, Kwame Yashirala and the Bible Ball. Shalom.